If you have just enough customers to offload, like in this farm, you're only able to sell about...
What is the production cost of per rabbit?
Now, starting from 3 months of age, on average, you should have 2 kgs live weight, give or take. There are some things I call the 4 pillars of successful rabbit farming. Number 1.
So you sell the urine?
Yes, yes.
How is the economics of this business?
And again, this is the most expensive component of feeding. You better take care of it so that it is not wasted. When I teach farmers about marketing rabbits, I'll tell them there's nothing. So if you have people who can buy 200 rabbits from me per month, then I only need to sell 50 per week. And I'm doing that. But of course, you don't do that in a day. That is a journey. You will not find anyone making serious money with chicken and they're keeping. So my advice to anyone looking to keep rabbits as a business, number 1, more of what we have talked about, fleshed out for the entire day in details.
How much do you charge?
Subscribe to Agri Business Insider.
Hello farmers, welcome to Agri Business Insider. Today we are in Kiserian, Kajiado County, where we have come to learn about rabbit farming. Come and let us learn together. Yes, Bwana David.
Karibu sana.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you, sir. Karibu Kiserian.
Asante sana.
Yes, yes.
I see you are doing rabbit farming.
Yes, this is rabbit farming. Professionally, we call it cuniculture.
Cuniculture.
That is a scientific name of agricultural practice of keeping rabbits domesticated for meat production and other products that you're going to see here. So that is cuniculture.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the first question I would like to know, how many rabbits do you have in Rabbit Crew Kenya?
We have a farm with a capacity of 1,000 rabbits here. So we have 315 rabbit hatches. With that, you are able to keep a population of up to 1,000 at full capacity. But of course, if you're in business, you will never at any particular time have 1,000. You are selling, others are getting born. So it's a whole ecosystem of different stages of production.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Bwana David,
yes,
how did you start your farm and why did you get into rabbit farming? Why not dairy, poultry or vegetable farming? Why specifically rabbit farming?
Okay, I started this farm in 2019 January, so this would make it its 6th year. I had 2 decisions to make. I wanted to get into agribusiness. So it was either a choice between livestock production or crop production. Between the two, I wanted to set up the business in an urban setting because of the issue of marketing. Yeah, so it is easier to sell in an urban setting. You are nearer to the market base. So when it comes to the crop production, it was out of the question. We don't have land that is very arable around here. People are only partitioning it so much for residential purposes. So when it comes to the livestock production, then you have a choice between large animals and small animals. I didn't own any land, so I was trying to look at a rental space. These spaces people call own compounds. Yes, so if you rent a space where somebody has a house and a small space outside, you cannot keep cows, cannot keep goats and all that. So it's a choice between now the smaller animals, chicken, and the other options that are small. I actually kept even a few ducks, Muscovy ducks. I also tried a few dairy goats for milk production. A few, they call them doper sheep. And then they also kept rabbits. So I tested them parallel to each other. The other large animals, sheep and goats, I saw it was not feasible buying and keeping them in 0 grazing units. So it was now a choice between Muscovy ducks and rabbits, and I wanted something challenging that is not with everybody. So chicken was out of the question. I wanted a bigger challenge. So I studied online, YouTube, like in a channel like yours. Someone had documented their journey in rabbit farming. I attended the showground. I attended a training with the government facility for rabbits, and then I was convinced I wanted to get into this market of rabbits because I was also interested. Actually, it was a motive beyond. I wanted some source of meat for myself at home. So initially, then I realized the rabbits have several advantages you find in this session today that I saw can make a very good customer business aspect out of it. The rabbits multiply very, very fast. They're very easy to raise. So I decided head on to the rabbits, and this is where we are now.
Amazing, amazing story. So, Bwana David, how did you actually start the farm? Like the step-by-step way of starting a successful rabbit farm?
So you start small. First of all, I needed I was amazed when I saw what other farmers were doing. The first thing that caught my eye is these guys are giving rabbits water. Where I grew up in the village, we used not to give rabbits water. So I started questioning that. Coincidentally, one of the facilities I visited was a government training center for rabbits in Ngong. They told me, you guys, if you're thinking about this for business, you better register for a training session, 3 days. Then from that, you'll be able to plan your commercial venture properly with information. So the first step was training. Second step was starting small. You are testing a new business that is challenging. People complain that it doesn't have good market. So I wanted to test it safely. So I started with about 22 hatches and about 13 rabbits at the point, of which half of them died as we practiced the work. I grew now slowly. If you look around my farm, you find that there are many blocks of 12 hatches each.
Very.
So it was an aspect of I grow a bit of the business, I sell a bit of the product, I get the confidence to expand. I had a block of 12, another one of 12 after a few months, up to where we are.
So like how many hatches do you have right now?
I have 315 hatches at the moment.
315 hatches?
Yes.
And it looks it's in a very small piece of land.
Yes, you don't need, actually that's another big advantage of rabbits. I usually say when I train farmers, rabbits are experts of small spaces. A small space like this one, even a space of about 50 by 100, actually mine have even spaced out because I have a lot of space. If you had a small land unoccupied of 50 by 100, you can keep up to about 900 hatches. With a slaughtering facility at the same site, keeping about almost about 3,000 rabbits. So you can see. So rabbits do not require a lot of spaces. You can buy rabbit pellets from the shops. You can buy hay from the people who transport from the commercial ranches, producers of hay, and you keep your livestock production in an urban setting.
Amazing.
Yes.
So there's something important you have said.
Yes.
Starting small and growing.
Yes.
So you started with 22 hatches.
Yes.
How much did it cost you, the 22 hatches?
Now the cost will vary because that was 6 years ago. I can't actually remember the exact cost.
Okay.
But currently we also make the hatches for farmers. So the current cost of one rabbit hatch, if you buy the materials, you pay the carpenters, you buy feeders, drinkers, all the accessories, comes to about 4,400 shillings in the current economy at the moment. And that is the cost we also sell to when we sell to farmers also. Okay, so
4,400 is one hatch.
One cubicle, yes, with all the accessories that you need to produce rabbits with.
And one cubicle, like this one?
Yes, this is one hatch. It's another one. So these are block of 12 hatches.
So 4,400 times 22?
Yes, so that will be the estimate.
The estimate?
Yes.
Amazing. As you have heard from Bwana David, rabbits are experts of a small space. So start with whatever small you have and keep growing from there. So Bwana David, which kind of breeds do you keep here at Rabbit Crew Kenya?
We have very many rabbit breeds. Actually, worldwide, you find there are almost 20 to 30
breeds.
Yes. You can even actually develop your own. You can take this one is called a silver marten, for example. Silver marten.
Silver marten.
Yes, marten.
Marten.
Yeah, and this one is called, people call it checkered giant. Some other people call it English spot giant. And we have New Zealand white, we have California white, Flemish giant, another people are calling Havana, pure black. We have American sable, another one people called cinnamon. We have American chinchilla, the Dutch, and many others.
Amazing.
Yes.
So among those ones, those are the ones that you have here?
Yes, we have all those.
Okay.
Yes.
Amazing. For meat production, which is the best breed?
New Zealand white will be the top on the list. It has what we call the fastest maturity, what we call the highest meat to bone ratio. So if you actually go online today on YouTube and you check commercial rabbit farms worldwide that keep hundreds of thousands of rabbits, they all have the white rabbit with pink eyes. That is a New Zealand white.
Okay.
Number two, there's California white. It was scientifically developed from the New Zealand white by crossbreeding with another one by scientists way back many years ago in the Western countries. Number three and below, the others mostly will be almost like tying. There's no one that you can say is the position on the number three. We include the Flemish giant, checkered giant, chinchilla, Havana. Those are usually the larger breeds.
Okay.
Then we have those medium breeds like this one, the silver marten. that some people will just like, or if you have someone keeping for pets, they would like the small to medium sized breeds.
Yeah.
So they have.
So this one is medium.
Yeah, this is medium.
And it looks very big.
No, we have bigger rabbits than this. We have 5 kg rabbits here.
Wow.
It's about 3 point something kgs. Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
So if you are in meat production, then you aim for those 6 breeds I mentioned first.
Yeah.
The first 2 being the white rabbits. Yes.
You have said the white ones are the
New Zealand white, California white.
New Zealand white and California white.
Yes, they are the only 2 breeds with pink eyes. If you are not sure which breed it is, any rabbit with pink eyes and with a white coat mostly, those ones are the ones people keep for meat production.
Amazing. Pink eyes, white coat is equals to more meat.
Yes.
Amazing.
That's a layman's way of looking at it. Yes.
Yeah. How many months do you keep them so that they can reach the market weight so that you can now sell them off?
All right, very good question. Starting from 3 months of age, on average, you should have 2 kgs live weight, give or take, depending on. There are some things I call the 4 pillars of successful rabbit farming. Number 1 will include the right breed. Then when you have the right breed, you should also be doing the right breeding, meaning you avoid practices like inbreeding and poor housing practices. Number 2, it will be the good housing. If you don't keep your rabbits in very good house, to contribute to how they get sick or they are uncomfortable, which will limit their production. Even if you have a good breed that can reach the market fast and you're not keeping it well in a good house, you will start stressing it and it will not grow very fast. Number 3 is about feeding. You don't feed a rabbit well, even if you have a good rabbit and a good house, then you're not in very good business. You don't get that result very quickly. Finally, good farm manager. There are some people who set up very expensive farms, then they will take a good farmhand whom they have not trained on how to look after rabbits. So they would just be doing it just for the sake, or with the mentality of how they used to do it when they were small boys in the village. Now, if you're doing it as a business for commercial, there are things to look out for. Like the 4 issues I've mentioned. So you need a farmer who can be able to manage those 3 other factors of production of producing rabbits, so that your rabbit is able to reach 3 months, at least 2 kgs, latest 4.5 months, or 4 months, 2.5 kgs live weight. If you want it to reach 3 kgs, then you keep it longer to about maximum of 5 months. And if you're not a very good producer, latest 6 months.
Which is the standard weight in the market right now?
You're talking about the minimum side 3 months 2 kg. On the higher side 2.5 kgs at 4 to 4.5 months is also a good average. Then you also have some market clients who would demand 3 kgs at around 5 to 6 months in that space.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is the production cost of per rabbit? That is if you're keeping it for meat. Now,
the production cost will vary depending on what you're feeding the rabbit. That is usually the direct cost of production is feeding. If you're in an urban area, then you are a farmer who doesn't... Rabbit is a herbivore, so it eats green material like a cow or a goat, but a different digestive system than, of course, the cows. The cows, it's a non-ruminant, small animal, but it also primarily is a herbivore. But we don't have the greens if you are setting up your farm in an urban area. So what do? Then you have to rely on people who sell either baled greens from the villages, like they have told you, buy their primary diet here is hay. Hay. So you look for quality hay. Hay is primarily dried matter. So that we prefer dried matter rather than wet feeds. I'm sure you have seen the village boys who give fresh greens from the farm. Even business, you suffer from something we call low digestibility. If you are giving wet feeds to your rabbit, it is not as easily or faster converted to meat or to weight the way dry matter is. So if you talk to a livestock production officer, even for other animals like cows, they will tell you dry feeds will be better, fermented feeds like silage and all that. So in this case, then we are buying everything. So that is our cost of production. So you have to buy grass. And then again, because the grass will be thin, it has a thin profile of nutrition. The rabbit will need about, if you are lucky, you should give products that have about at least 16% crude protein and at least about 13% of fiber should be in its daily diet. So it's a delicate balance that a professional can be able to farm with it for you that is specific for rabbits. So we buy now rabbit pellets for that reason.
Okay.
So we have commercial producers, the major livestock feeds manufacturers, they sell to us. So your cost now then will depend on what is the cost of a pellet company brand you are using and what is the cost of hay in your neighborhood. For most farmers in Nairobi, the most expensive rabbit producer in the capital city of Nairobi, the highest cost we've ever seen, the highest costing rabbit feed in the market is not anything beyond 400 shillings per kg of meat produced.
So the production cost per kg of meat, it should not, or it does not go above 400 shillings.
Yes. For the rural farmer who has the greens, they are not buying hay. Your cost of production goes way below about 200 shillings or even lesser per kg of meat produced.
Okay, but of course it takes longer.
If you are doing only greens, it will take longer. But you can also be a rural farmer who has the greens they are not buying, but they choose to buy also the pellets so that it goes to the market faster. So you have half the costs is on sourced from your farm, the other cost is purchased.
So what you are buying is only the concentrate.
Yes.
And what is the ratio between the hay and the pellets?
Now, hay and water you should give what we call ad libitum, without measure. Yes, so hay and water, give them without measure. And actually, like I said, hay is just any dried matter. Usually, it's commonly sold as grasses, kinaboma rods and all that. But avoid cheap grasses that do not have nutrition, like straws. Which straw, but those straws, rice, you know, those people selling rice hay. It is just a straw. It's not very nutritious because you're also looking at a grass that has some sort of crude protein.
Amazing.
Some of them will report 8% to 16%. Choose wisely. So you can mix a grass with what we call the leguminous hay, like the sun. You can also mix. You can also prepare your own hay. Uproot the common rabbit weeds, kina blackjack and all those. They are called herbaceous weeds, but those ones have a problem because they are not grasses. If they dry, they tend to become flat very quickly. So you have to be a farmer who has easy access in the neighborhood of your farm, so that you wilt it under shade, not under direct sunlight. And quickly within 1 week or so, you have fed it. So it has that disadvantage, not compared to the grass that you can store in your store for months, compared to the other weeds. So that's why I say the rural farmer has that advantage, that they can be wilting in stages as they feed per week.
Okay.
And they have more nutritional sources than an urban farmer.
The hay and the water is ad libitum.
Yes.
Which means each and every time they must be present in the hutch.
Yes.
What about now the concentrate?
The concentrate now, you don't want to overdo it and you don't want to underdo it. The common pellets we have in the market, we have actually done a research. Just last week we completed a research. You can find it on our website, rabbitgroupkenya.co.ke. There is a latest article on the page called Rabbit Talks, where we found that we are researching. We find that if you give 200 grams of pellets, can you reach the market faster? Compared to giving 100 grams. So out of our research, we are looking at a cost of not just time, but affordability. With 200 grams, you might get to the market we found you are able to get to the market about 7 weeks, but at a cost nearing about 700 shillings also. But with 100 grams, you add 3 more weeks to about 10 weeks, but at cost almost half that, about 468 shillings. So as a good decision maker, a good businessman, you better keep it for the longer 3 weeks at almost half a cost. Yes. And again, if you feed so much of the pellets, it means you have to feed up the bowls almost to the brim. So most of the time they'll be wasting. It becomes like you are trying to feed the pellets also, ad libitum also. It's like you're doing what we call open feeding. And again, this is the most expensive component of feeding. You better take care of it so that it is not wasted.
Wow.
Yes. So for that one, then we say 100 grams for any rabbit above, after weaning, 1.5 months and above. And if it is during the breastfeeding season, the breastfeeding mother can be given 100 to 200 grams per day. After up to a time when we say 3 weeks, when the kids, the small babies, the first 3 weeks they just breastfeed exclusively. They don't eat, they don't drink.
For the first 3 weeks?
Yes. Then after 3 weeks, when they start eating, then you can make the pellet portion to be 300, so that the kids can also have something to eat from what the mother is eating. There are some farmers who prefer to also do open feeding for the breastfeeding does. The female rabbit is what we call a doe, the male is the bar. So there are some people who also do open feeding. But if you are a farmer who wants to keep track of the amounts you give to every stage, then 100 to 200 during pregnancy period, and about 200 for the first 3 weeks of breastfeeding, then 300 for the next 3 weeks up to the time you do the weaning of those kids. Rabbits who have the highest metabolism between 0 and 3 weeks, I mean 3 months of age. That is what, even in children, a child can eat a whole loaf of bread and you struggle to do the same, because they are more active at that stage.
Yeah.
So there's what the scientists who call, biologists who call surface area to volume ratio. There's some science behind it.
And also what we call the feed conversion ratio.
Yes, yes.
It's very quite low. Being low meaning that they are converting feed very fast.
Yes.
So that they can build on the body, the immunity, and all that.
Yeah, they are not yet to the maximum point of growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
So, Bwana David.
Yes.
I have seen that the way you're holding the rabbit is by the back and not the ears.
Yes. That is very important. Let me show you. Let me show you what happens. Example, I have a rabbit here. Yeah. And you're supposed to hold it like this. Number one, you're going to realize that it is throwing kicks. It wants to be let loose. So for that, you need to contain its weight so that you avoid injury. You see that it is moving? Yeah. It is trying to let itself go of that grip. Yeah. So you hold it like this, just where the ears end. You see that it's throwing its kicks. So now you're able to contain its weight like this. Again, remember, some of these rabbits will be very heavy. Yeah. Even 5-6 kgs. So if you try to lift it by the ears like this, and it's throwing its kicks like this, then you might injure its neck. It's like someone lifting you by the ears. You see that feeling? Yeah. I'm sure this practice is much widespread in the villages where people keep what we call kienyeji rabbits, the smaller rabbits. Yeah. But the more heavier the rabbit is, the more potential for injury, both to yourself and to the rabbit. So the correct way is like that. Yeah. And if you want to check the what we call sexing, you want to check whether it's a male or a female, from the same position like this, then you can place it against your chest with the legs facing up. If it throws its kicks right now, it's not going to injure you. Wow. And then you can check. You see that one is a male. Okay. That is how you check for a male. And then you see, even if it blows itself, you're always ready. You're always ready. And if you want to check for a female, same procedure. Lift by the skin just above the shoulders. Then hold it like that. And you see for a female, it's not protruding the genital. It's like a V-shaped slit there. Okay? So that is a female. You see, the more it throws itself, you're containing the weight. Wow. So that is how they live. So you keep males and females apart. And for each house, you can see we are keeping about a maximum of 5. They will grow up together, males, females apart. Okay. That is the reason why we use cages. So that you're able to keep females apart, males apart. Like in this case, initially there were 5, and then we've either slaughtered. The more they grow, they compete for food. Yeah. So the ones that grow up faster than the others, you slaughter those ones first. Or someone might come and buy a rabbit, so I picked 2 from here, and these are left their sisters together. Wow. Yes. Amazing. Yes. And I see the housing, you have done it on purpose. Yes. Why this kind of structure? Why this structuring? You have to first of all create a meshed floor. That is what we call self-cleaning rabbit hutches. If you keep your rabbit clean, you are going to avoid about 90% of all rabbit diseases. So the first point of defense, in our case, we're able to raise our rabbits disease-free. We don't use, it's very rare for you to find us using any antibiotics here. Actually, it's almost 0. And the line of defense is self-cleaning hatches, where the droppings in the urine will go down. You can see here there's urine dripping all the way to this container. Yeah. In which case urine is also important. I don't know whether you have ever heard that the rabbit urine is a natural pesticide for people doing organic farming. And it is also a very good source of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium for your crops as a foliar fertilizer or soil fertilizer. The same case with the droppings. You need an easy way of collecting them. Yeah. So you can't do depleter system and you want to collect the droppings much more sooner. Yeah. They look like those ones of goats, but the rabbit droppings are what we call cold applied manure. Means you can lift it here and take it to your crops like a fertilizer, like the way people do nitrogen top dressing fertilizer. It is absorbable to the crops very, very sooner. You don't need to pre-ferment it like the way people do for cow dung or other animals. So that's a good advantage of the rabbit manure. So the system like this one will help you. Yeah. Then you automate the drinking system. Yeah. And the hay racks, we have a hay rack at the bottom, at the back side there. That is our invention.
Yeah.
We invented that one to try and reduce hay wastage. Most people will hang it with a binding wire hanging from the hatch, but that one wastes much more hay than what a hay rack is helping us to achieve.
Amazing.
Yes. In the future, we might explore even pelletizing the hay so that we avoid all that wastage altogether. Yes.
Why we use this type of sheets?
This one is called fiberglass. Urine is very corrosive. It has a acidity aspect of it. So if you use the normal iron sheets here, they are going to corrode very soon. So this is called fiberglass, what people ordinarily call in the hardwares transparent mabati. So this one is some sort of plastic material or that spectrum. So this one will not corrode. Yes, under urine. So it will drip there, drip the gutters, the container below, and
it makes cleaning easy.
Yes.
And it is durable.
Yes.
Wow. So the top, it's where you use the iron sheet.
Yes, you use iron sheets on the top.
This one is
collection points. You use the fiberglass. Yes.
Collection points use the fiberglass.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
I've seen you have a very good watering system. How do you go about it?
This is called nipple drinking system. It makes, for example, if you have a large farm like ours, you can imagine washing about 315 pots every day. So that you clean them for drinking water. And sometimes if you use pots for drinking water, some rabbits will dip their feet in it as they jump around, so it becomes a hygiene issue. So to counter that, you see we have a tank up there. So you can either do what we call, you can see there's a green pipe protruding. That is where you can fit what we call ball valve connection, where water fills in. If you have a waste tank or a pump, and when the tank is full, it will just lock itself automatically. Alternatively, if you have a smaller farm, you can fill that tank with a ladder and a pipe or buckets or whatever. Because when you feed it once, for example, if it's serving only about 12 hatches, it might stay for about close to 3 weeks before you need to refeed it. A rabbit will drink about half a liter of water maximum per day on average.
An adult?
Yeah, an adult rabbit, yes. Or even the smaller rabbits, they eat a lot, don't despise them.
So that's why we said the water should be at limited.
Yes, you don't
because also of the hay is dry and the concentrate is dry.
Good. They always be thirsty. And the more they keep being thirsty, the more they are drinking water, the more their digestive system is in good shape, and the more absorption is taking place. The more absorption is taking place, the more you are converting that to meat. So they have a very high conversion ratio of about 33% on average, about 25 to 37% of every kg of feed given, they will give you about 33% of that into meat. So it's very good. So the water will be, we put the water up there, it will flow through gravity through the pipes, and then down here, that's where you have the cap. If you press here, you find that now it is producing water. So the rabbit would automatically, when they put the mouth there to drink, you see the water is coming out naturally. Yes, so it makes
so they like a valve.
Yes, it's a
like
valve.
the ones for chicken.
Yes, similar. The same concept. Now these pipes, because of always having stagnant water, you can find that some of them are becoming darker. This is what we call agai. It is plant material. It's harmless to the rabbits, but to clean it is you just simply see here there's a junction. You just remove the pipe here. See when I touch it, it's dripping some water. So you remove the pipe, and then you can use something like a wire to just scrub through the pipe. When water is flowing with pressure from behind, it will push that material out. That is why also there is junctions after every 2 feet. Yes, 2.5. 2.5. Yeah. Amazing. So you do it like that. So it is not something that will grow every day. Maybe you may need to do it once every 2 to 3 months. So it is not very tedious compared to washing the pots. You can see a pot, even some will put droppings in it. So you can imagine now there was drinking water. They were supposed to be drinking from the pot. Then some of the rabbits have their droppings inside the drinking water, of which you don't have control as a farmer. So a much smaller container like the nipple drinking system here, it will remove that problem for you. And ensures there is no water spillage. Yes. So there is conservation. Yes. Wow. And I've seen which kind of feeders are these? This is clay pots. You have to use something heavy. So that when the rabbits are jumping around, they don't topple it over as easily as some people try to use plastic containers. or some plastic feeding bowls. But the moment the rabbit is hopping around, it will topple over. So you will be having a lot of feed wastage. Yes, so clay is much better. Yes.
Okay.
So it's heavy enough to avoid that issue of toppling over.
Or toppling over.
Yes.
And also there is the aspect of they like biting and scratching.
Yeah.
So when it comes to plastic, they will wear it out.
Much more sooner.
And the metals will injure them.
Actually, the primary consideration between maybe clay and metal would be that because the clay will be heavier than the metal, unless you're using a very heavy metal, which then it stops being cost effective. So the clay pot will make that easier for you. You can see this one, they have bitten, yes. Because rabbits have what we call their teeth. They grow like human nails. They are always growing, so they need a way to trim them naturally. So most of the time, that is one of the reasons we give them tough hay. And if you look at the hay we are giving them, we select hay that has very tough stalks. You see these tough stalks? Not very fine grass. And they will chew it. They will chew all of this. So it helps them to trim their teeth. Even if the house is made of wood, you can look inside, there's nowhere they're eating the wood as much as you'd think. Yes, so they will be chewing the hay from the hay racks, resting some of the time, and that is how they take care of their teeth. If a rabbit feels maybe a certain season you do not bring very good hay, they will now start chewing the
scratching or
like
chewing
this.
the pot.
Yes, they are just trying to trim their teeth so that they don't overgrow. If they overgrow, that becomes a problem. Teeth can protrude, they even pierce the tongue or the upper jaw.
Wow.
So the rabbit will stop having an ability to eat. And that is a problem. That's a disaster. You can also have that problem where the teeth are not aligned properly. If you are a farmer who does inbreeding, you are breeding brothers, sisters, father, daughters and all that. So some of the genetic disorders that come from that is instead of the teeth matching to each other like this when they are chewing, they crisscross. So what would happen is that these ones will be growing towards the upper jaw, the top ones will go and pierce the tongue. So you can imagine that situation. It's very painful also. So even if you try to trim it like nails, they'll still keep coming back. So what you do in such a case, first of all, rectify your breeding, and then second, you can trim for the time being until it gets enough weight, even if it is 1-point-something kgs, so that you slaughter it off to save it from that pain.
Wow.
Yes. So if you do inbreeding, your teeth of your rabbits can become a problem also. Yes.
Amazing. And Bwana David, talking about breeding.
Yes.
How do you do breeding on your farm?
You have, if you look carefully here, you have numbers on the doors. So this number tells me who is inside this house. Then I have a book where I've written the records, breeding records. So I know AB5, who was the father, who was the mother, who was the grandfather, who was the great-grandfather. So that when I'm selecting what we call breeding selection, if I have to take a female from here, and the male I want to breed with is here, before I do any breeding, I have to check, are they related? If they are not related, then I start breeding. Yes, so you have to avoid, the primary consideration is inbreeding. Then the second, how you actually do the breeding activity itself is you simply take the female to the male's cage. They will mate. The male will fall over as a sign that it has successful service. You may allow that to be repeated 3 times, and one of them will be, in my experience, you have about an 80% conception rate, provided you did the 4 things I told you in the beginning properly. You have fed well, you have housed it well, it's stress-free, because rabbits have what we call induced ovulation. That means it's not like a cow or a goat that you have to wait for it to be on heat so that you serve it. So if as long as it is mature sexually, 5 months for the whites, 6 months for the others, and you take it to the male, it will ovulate or release an egg in response to mating with the male. And that is one of the greatest advantages of rabbit production, in that you don't have to wait for the animal to be on heat to serve it. And there is, talking of that ovulation, the doe, after giving birth, it can actually conceive even within that window of 24 hours. How much time do you allow the doe to rest of
before
course,
now you serve it again?
So of course, when you serve it, you allow it 1 month pregnancy. Then when it delivers, we don't want to serve it immediately. We want to allow it to breastfeed for 1.5 months.
1.5 months.
Yes. Then after you separate the babies, now you keep males and females apart. You can deworm her and then you allow her to rest for another week so that her body adjusts. Some people rest her for 2 weeks, so it's upon you as a farmer. So that means every 2.5 weeks, 2.5 months, you can serve that dough back to back. Every 2 months, 3 weeks, every 2 months, 3 weeks to 3 months, you have a cycle of. You can actually do what you are saying, but not she has delivered today and you're serving it the same day. That is called intensive breeding, so that the people who have that problem are the people who keep males and females together. That is not advisable. So even if you wanted to keep rabbits in a colony instead of cages like this, I'll tell you to keep males and females apart so that you know when you are breeding. Even if you want to do that, there is a way it is done. Instead of winning at 1.5 months, there are some people who win faster at 1 month. But before winning is done, 2 weeks into breastfeeding, they serve again. So that the rabbit will be half pregnant and half breastfeeding. It's changing hormones. So that's called an intensive program of breeding, but it is not practical because that would mean you keep building more hatches as much as you are breeding. The program I told you of breeding of every 3 months allows you to, if you are feeding properly, like I told you, every 3 months you can get 2 kg and slaughter off. So the 3-month cycle of breeding matches with the 3 months of feeding, you get 2 kgs and slaughter off.
Wow.
You get that point?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you try to do it much more sooner, then before the 3 months are over and you are doing it every 1 month, first of all, it will be stressing to the rabbit, of course. Second, it will also stress you construction-wise. You have to keep making hatches for and you are not in business. So it is not practical. You can only do that temporarily. For example, maybe you are going to Easter. And maybe I know at around Easter there are certain hotels that will require rabbit meat suddenly. So I expect that I might offload everything I have around Easter period or December, Christmas. After that season, I need to repopulate my farm quickly because I have more than, maybe for example, I have the 200 hatches are the ones that I put growers in. So if I empty all the 200 hatches, then I have a lot of space I can populate with quickly for the next season, where I anticipate I will make a lot of sales. The same way people we hoard dopper sheep and goats and only sell in Christmas. They are keeping them in ranches towards Magadi. So it's the same concept. So you can say now this is a period for multiplication. So breed back to back quickly, then stop. So they are now full in the hatches. Now it's the growing season. The season comes, you sell off everything, breed temporarily back to back, intensively, then stop. So that is when you can do intensive breeding. Yes.
How many kids can a dog give per year?
Okay. On average, one birth will give you a litter of 5 to 9 kids.
5 to 9 kids.
That is what we call the normal distribution. Out of the ordinary, you may have a dog giving you 1, 2, 3 kids. That is an undesirable trait in breeding.
Meaning it should be culled.
Yes. So you cull that one. Also, on the other side, we have an outlier of a rabbit that will give you 11, 12, 13, 14. They are also not normal, not common. But some farmers will not decide to cull that one. They will take those kids and distribute to the ones that are giving 5 or 6. On average, a rabbit has about 8 to 10 kids. So it can comfortably take care of up to 8 kids. So if it had 6, so what we do, you breed more than one rabbit at the same time. If you don't have many bucks to breed on the same day, then we advise you to breed 3 days apart if you only have one male. So that if you need to share out those babies, if one gives birth to 11 babies, another one gives birth to 5 or 6, then you can pick 2 from the one who has 11, at least you take 9. The one who had 6 will have 8. So you have helped them to share that burden.
So the dog does not recognize that these kids are not from another mother.
It's called fostering. First of all, there's a process because each doe should have a nest box where you put some little hay and then she'll pluck her own fur and put there. So if you are bringing a new kid from a different family to her space, already she has some fur, some of her fur inside that box. So when you are lifting the kid from the other family, don't lift it with the fur from the mother where she's coming from. You lift it naked completely, then you mix it with the fur of the new family where she's going. She will pick up the scent of the other mother. If you are afraid that she might not do that, then you can use onion, cooking onion. You rub some of it on the kid's skin, the one you want to transfer to the new family. The mother who is receiving her, you rub some of it on her nose, and then she'll mix up the scent with the other kids. The mother is also smelling onions on their nose, so she'll not be able to detect who is the newcomer. So that is how you do fostering. Yes, those are the 2 ways.
Guys, where do you learn such things? You can only learn it from the experts, and that is what we bring to you at Agribusiness Insider. So, Bwana David,
yes,
you sell the urine?
Yes, I do. I do sell the urine. We also use it in our small kitchen garden back here.
How is the economics of this business?
It is it's an emerging venture. And even entirely, the whole business of rabbits is more of a niche market. If there's some people who make arguments and they will say, do not grow or keep an animal or a crop that you don't find every other day or every other Kenyan normal household eating it or being sold in your neighborhood or in the market. But if you go along that argument, if today you wanted to buy broccoli or salad cabbage, you will not find it in the normal kiosk around here. You will find it maybe in the supermarket, isn't it? So do we say that because all Kenyans don't eat broccoli, then we should not have people growing broccoli?
No.
So the same thing with rabbits, the rabbit meat or the urine, it is also a niche market. There are people who are sensitive to how they grow their crops or what they eat. That's why you have fragments in the market. There are people who say, I will eat anything, I will get a new body in heaven. Then we have another group of people who will say, I only eat organic food because I want to live long, I want to live properly. So one of the products people use for organic farming is now the rabbit urine. Because it reduces your reliance on
pesticides and fungicides.
Yes, because now it has a very sharp smell. If you smell it, they start choking you. Yes, so for that reason, it helps, the same aspect will help you when you apply it on your crops. If there are some tiny insects coming to attack your crops, that ammonia-ish smell will choke them and they will go away. They won't kill. So those people who are afraid that it will start killing bees and other animals in the environment, it is more of a repellent. It will chase them away because of the smell. So what do? You apply proactively. You can do it once a week, once every 2 weeks, so that if there's anything there's some pests that are tough that will lay eggs, then if you think that you had treated it 1 week later, they will come out. So you do it proactively. So you apply once a week or once every 2 weeks, and actually you don't do it directly, you dilute with water. Otherwise, too much nitrogen, it will start scorching your plants. They will start having small patches of brown on the leaves because of too much nitrogen. So 1 liter of urine, you dilute with at least 5 liters of water. Some farmers will also do 10 liters of water. If you want it more smelly for the pesticide aspect, then you can do 1 to 5. If you want it more diluted, just as a general fertilizer, then you can do 1 to 10.
Amazing.
So that depends on how much of it you have, how much of it you want to use, and the cost of obtaining it. So that is it. So the economy of the rabbit urine, I will not lure anyone to keep rabbits because they will make a lot of money with urine. Yes, you can. But like in a niche market, you need to do marketing properly. You need to plan your agribusiness properly. When I teach farmers about marketing rabbits, I'll tell them there's nothing new with rabbits. It is just an agribusiness like any other, only that its products are not as popular as many other popular agribusiness ventures. It is very hard to come across someone selling rabbit meat in a butchery. But I'm here and I sell all my rabbits and actually even buy from farmers because it's usually not enough.
Because of the demand.
Because I have a demand that is specific to a few buyers who know me. You get that?
I get
so if you have just enough customers to offload, like in this farm, you're only able to sell about 200 rabbits per month. That is the capacity of this farm. So if you have people who can buy 200 rabbits from me per month, then I only need to sell 50 per week. And I'm doing that. So, but of course, you don't do that in a day. That is a journey of 6 years. So when I was starting, maybe you could sell 1 or 2 in a month. Then after a few months, maybe you're now selling 5 per month. Then after more advertising, I'm very rigorous on advertising. You also found me through social media.
True.
So there will be people who also find me through social media to buy rabbit meat. So there will be a hotel that will find me through social media to be supplying them because they have been interested with the rabbit meat. So that is the nature of the business. We are lucky today we have social media. It is not as difficult as it was maybe 15 years ago to sell a niche product to the market and create interest, create demand, sell the product.
Amazing.
Yes.
There's someone who might be asking, how much hatches or rabbits do I need so that I can quit my job and for it to fully sustain me?
You need a lot. I've trained farmers here who used to keep chicken and they are now trying to keep rabbits also to add to their business. So most of the people who are seriously keeping chicken, because chicken is a common comparison because they're also small animals, you will not find anyone making serious money with chicken and they are keeping 20 chicken. They're keeping 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. So the same concept will apply to the rabbits, but in Kenya we have a lot of people fearing the market of rabbits because they will say that it is not as straightforward as the way people keep chicken. If you kept broiler chicken here or kienyeji chicken or improved chicken or whatever, and you have them ready for sale, it is very easy to just Google chicken buyers around where you are, and there are many middlemen who come buying where you are. So for the rabbits, we don't have many people advertising that we are buying rabbits online so that you can encourage more producers to keep. But it is a chicken versus egg problem. That is what I say, meaning that is it the chicken that came first or the egg? Okay, so if you now bring the same comparison and say, is it the market of rabbits that should be more robust first, or is it the producers of rabbits should be more? So we have people waiting. It is only for the few larger producers like myself. As you wait for that to happen, in my case, I've gone all the way to, it's called vertical integration. I'm producing, I'm doing my own marketing, I'm looking for my own market, and I'm selling.
So right there on the spot,
yes.
How do you do your marketing?
Marketing, you have to do it like any other professionally done marketing. Okay, you have a product that needs to find a consumer. Who is the consumer? Consumer is someone who is already eating rabbit meat, or someone who has never eaten rabbit meat and they are curious about it, or someone who has never eaten rabbit meat, never thought that rabbits can be eaten, never knew how much value the rabbit meat. I have even some people saying that rabbit meat is like one of the best meats ever known to man.
True.
But we don't have people eating them because also even cultural barriers. Some people say they look cute like the cats. I had a student here come to visit me from Cameroon, and he was telling me that, I think I've tasted both the rabbit and the cat, and the rabbit tastes better.
Oh, in Cameroon they eat cats?
He was telling me that they have some people who eat cats in Cameroon. So it was surprising to me that someone could think of eating a cat. Because here we see them as completely pets. Now there are some other people, if you go to some countries like the US, I think they look at the rabbit also much more wider as a pet than we would say a food source. If you go away to the east, now we go to China, we have open markets. The way you find open markets in Kenya, selling chicken, slaughtering chicken on market days. There they will be slaughtering a lot of rabbits on market days and hanging them like goats in butcheries, and people buying 600, 500 shillings and going home. So we have a difference of culture between the two extremes. We are there in between. So what is our work as Rabbit Crew Kenya? It is to influence the creation or demand of rabbit meat. We want to see the rabbit meat considered as also a mainstream source of nutrition. We have climate change. Where are we heading? Keeping livestock, the Maasais we are finding them more and more in the towns now, because the larger portions of land where they are with climate change is not giving them enough fodder. So they have now to work more to find fodder for their cows. Now even goat meat is becoming very expensive. Currently goat meat around here is much more expensive than we are selling rabbit meat. So what does that tell you? We may need an alternative source of meat or protein for the future. We want to position rabbits in that position for the coming years.
And also I also do poultry research.
Yes.
And you see the population is rising.
Yes.
So in future we'll need animals that can produce meat in a short span of time.
Yes.
And also there's something I would want people to know about the nutrition of the rabbit meat.
Yes.
One is that it has the highest protein content, and also it has the lowest amount of or level of fat and cholesterol.
Yes.
So actually it's a very healthy source of nutrition.
Yes. I will emphasize and add on that point and say that we are becoming more urbanized. Right now, if you go to central Kenya, you find that people are partitioning their land more and more. These companies that are selling 50 by 100 plots, they are no longer in Nairobi. You find them in Kirinyaga now. You find them in Mumias. You find them in Malindi. So they are all over. So you don't have you cannot have many people keeping ranches for so long, for the many years to come, so that you can keep beef cattle in large tracts of land. Unless now we start pushing towards northern Kenya, maybe where you have more land there. So we need a closer source of food near us in urban settings, so that as you can keep 20 chicken in your compound for meat production and eggs, you can also keep a few rabbits, 20, 30, 40, even as a domestic affair. That's a good starting point. So the issue of food sources, alternative white meat sources, sometimes you may get bored of eating chicken every day. So, and again, if you have a rabbitry in your house, a small unit like this one of 12 Hutches, you are producing about 3 to 5 liters of urine per day. If you have a kitchen garden there, you're growing your own kitchen garden with fertilizer and urine and pesticide from your rabbits.
Farm sustainability.
You have an ecosystem of food source for your own household. So you reduce your cost of living. Yes.
Which are some of the diseases that affect rabbits and how do you prevent them?
Okay. Number one, very, very common disease of rabbits, widespread even among the smallholders, farmers in the rural areas that who have never practiced any kind of commercial farming, is a disease called mange and ear canker. That mange disease is where you find rabbits, they look like they have some wounds that are healing around their nose, eyes, ears and all that across the body. It is brought about by some tiny mites, just like
they are called the sarcoptic mange.
Yes.
They affect also the pigs.
Even in pigs. So you find it's an issue of housing. So if you keep your rabbits in a deep litter system where there's no wetness at all, they will grow inside there. It's a budding environment for them. So any farmer who keeps rabbits in deep litter system without meshing their floors, that is the most common disease they're going to find. On the other hand, there are many diseases, but I'll give you the most common. The second most common disease that you now find on the side of people who practice organized commercial rabbit farming, it's a disease called pasteuridosis or snuffles. A rabbit will be sneezing, having a running nose. That is very much common on farmers who keep rabbits in what we call indoor housing. What you find here is an outdoor hutch. Rabbits are enjoying the elements of weather.
There is air circulation. Very natural.
But if you you create a big house, then you put rabbit hutches inside. The issue of urine smell that I told you, it is scorching. Even the rabbit themselves will be affected by their own urine. So they will start sneezing. It becomes chronic. You try to treat it with antibiotics. The urine is still smelling inside the house. So it keeps coming back. So it is like treating a common cold for yourself and then re-exposing yourself to elements that caused you a cold in the first place. So you keep getting that cold again. So we are encouraging anyone looking to keep rabbits commercially, consider outdoor system. Of course, this has disadvantages. Number one, if your fence has a hole where a dog can enter that can try to attack the hatches and pull the rabbits from inside, then that is a common predatory issue. Number two, thieves. You may have people looking to steal rabbits. Then, in short, you should have a proper perimeter wall, of which most people keeping rabbits in their own homesteads. In the first place, even if the rabbits were not there, they would not wish to have people entering their compound. They would not wish to have dogs entering their compound. So that becomes like, for you to keep rabbits in your compound, it's a default that security should not be an afterthought. You should think about it before. So as long as you have that predatory security sorted, then your rabbits will be happier living outside.
Does rabbits feel cold?
No, they will not be affected by cold as such. You can see there's a lot of wind here. So rabbits have a biology of the best optimum operating temperature of 15 to 25 degrees. When you talk about 15 degrees, you are thinking Limuru, you are thinking Nyandarua, where it is very cold. So you can still keep rabbits there. I visit my grandmother is from Nyandarua County. At around 6 p.m., 7 p.m., they start lighting up charcoal ovens, the jikos, because it's very cold there. But outside, they have a structure of rabbits that are living comfortably out there.
Wow.
So that tells you that those rabbits have always been there since I was a small boy, even today. So those people try to think they want to shelter now rabbits against cold and all that. Let them come here and see our rabbits are okay. All right.
Yeah.
Of course, it is sensible enough. We don't make it all wire mesh. You can see it's almost covered with wood all around.
Yeah.
With only tiny windows for ventilation watching outside and basking. And of course, the floor is meshed. So the rabbit will be sensible enough. If it feels there's a direct wind hitting the hatch, then it will move towards the side where it's covered by wood completely. And of course, it's furred. It has a lot of fur, so it is able to regulate itself against cold. So if it is feeling very cold at night, you start chewing hay a lot during the night. You know.
Yeah.
So actually a rabbit will die faster from heat than cold. If you put that rabbit outside and you put it in a meshed container and you leave it at the direct sun from 12 p.m. to 3-4 p.m. It will let out a sharp scream by around 2 hours, and it will seize. It's called the heat stroke. It will have a seizure. Yeah. Some of the organs will fail and it will die.
So ventilation is very important.
Ventilation is number one. Whether you are indoor system or outdoor system. If you want to keep rabbits inside the house, I will not limit you, but you should have a lot of open space above the hatches. You don't know, most farmers will keep blocks like these ones I've done, with very small tiny walkway so that they maximize the space inside. 3 tires, the roof is here, the hatch is here, so there's no enough circulation. Yeah. So if you have to do it inside the house, then you can even do 1 tire or 2 tires only. Then you have a lot of head space. It's like think of a warehouse, the ones you find in the industrial area. Those big warehouses, it's like you are also outside. It is just a security covering. You are not trying to limit at this dewy wind or to keep them warm. That is not the objective. So if you keep your rabbits inside the house, it should be a space where you can come with a novel and you read your book the whole day, eat from there happy, it's fresh air.
True.
It should be that standard. Yes.
So guys, as you have heard, if you are looking for quality rabbit meat, come here at Rabbit Crew Kenya. Yes.
We sell rabbit meat at 790 shillings per kg. We look to supply hotels, butcheries, home consumers. You can even supply your supermarket. So that is it. We also make rabbit hatches for farmers. We sell the breeding stock anyone who's looking to start. And much more importantly, if you're looking for commercial venture, come for training with us.
Wow.
More of what we have talked about, fleshed out for the entire day in details.
How much do you charge?
2,500 shillings per person for the full day training, inclusive of a rabbit meal for lunch.
Wow.
Yes.
Rabbit meal for lunch?
Yes.
Wow, amazing. So with only 2,500 shillings,
yes,
you learn everything about
rabbits. Yes.
Rabbits.
Yes.
And also you get connections on how to build a good hatch.
Yes.
And on top of that, you get a free meal.
Yes,
of rabbit meat.
And you also get a book for free. We have written a book on rabbits. So you also get that for free.
Is it a soft copy or hard copy?
We have a soft copy at the moment. In the future, we may produce a hard copy.
So we are going to leave the link of the book on the description of the video. And also, if you want to contact David for any of the cases that we have said, make sure that you call the number that is on the screen.
Yes.
I've seen that you are building some hatches there.
Yeah, I'm preparing some meshes for an upcoming project for a rabbit farmer who wants to make hatches.
Yeah, let us go there.
And you see them, yeah?
Yeah, so that we can learn more about how they are made.
Okay.
I see here we have all the equipment that are needed.
Yes.
When you're building a hatch for the rabbits.
Yes.
Can you take us along?
Yeah. So primarily the most important part of a rabbit hatch is the floor. Okay.
Yeah.
You notice when we are going around our hatches, we've used what people call coconut mesh. That one has given us a lot of problems.
Yeah.
In the last 6 years, I think we've changed it almost 4 times now. They will start rotting at the corners. Mostly, rabbits are notorious on using one corner spot for going to the toilet. So they will urinate continuously on that one corner, and they use the continued impact of urine to start tearing it out. So that becomes a problem because when the rabbits give birth, the kids will fall off. So we keep thinking, what do we use? Some people think about galvanized material. Very hard to come across those ones in Kenya. We have also imported some from China, some galvanized mesh. Unfortunately, they had very thin strands of wire that started giving rabbits a disease called sore hocks. It will give them wounds because it's a heavy rabbit.
Yeah.
If you put a soft wire, even if it is galvanized, it's against rotting, but it is giving wood to your rabbits.
Yeah,
So this is a bit better because it's a sheet. Yes, it can rust, it is steel, but it is very thick.
Yeah.
Before any action on urine breaks this down, you'll have lived with it. We can guarantee you have used it for 7 years or more.
7 years.
Yes. So even if it breaks down in due time, not as fast
as the one for chicken
wire. Yes.
Okay.
So that is it. So this is very thick. You wash it with water with no worry.
Yeah.
To start producing some rotting spots on the surface. But because you are washing it off with water and all that, it will not accumulate. It's not like it is a heap of that is always incubating below it because you are removing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is the next best option we have at the moment.
How much does this cost?
Like this one, we sell this one.
The size?
The size is 6 feet by 2.5. We do the paint work for you properly with the automotive paint, so that we make it a little bit anti-corrosive. Even if you not prevent it entirely. Rabbit urine is so powerful.
Yeah.
We sell this at 1,950 shillings.
1950.
Yes. Yes.
And how much? I have seen this one. Now it's to be put on the floor.
Yes, this is for the floors. Yes.
How many hatches like for this one?
This is for 3 hatches of the size that we have there.
Okay.
So it translates to about 650 shillings per hatch. If you do chicken wire and wire mesh combination, this one does not need wire mesh below. That one comes to about 400 to 450 shillings per hatch. So you add 200 shillings more, and the 450 you have done it 3 times or 4 times. By the time you keep this one, you change it for the very first.
For the 7 years, that one for chicken you change 3 times.
3, 4, 5 times.
4, 5 times.
3, 4, 5, 4 times. This one will only be using it once. Yeah. So the cost of acquisition is a bit high at the beginning, but we leave it with it for longer. Next, we have one of the important feeding equipments. This is called a hay rack. So you put in the hay like that, and we tell people when you're handling hay, you can have a face mask. This dust of hay can give you what we call hay fever, an allergy to hay, and you start sneezing a lot in due time. So you feed it with hay like that, feed it against the wall of your hatch. The rabbit will be pulling from here, and they also enjoy a lot. So they be pulling from here as they chew. Okay?
So you imitate the natural way of people from the ground.
Yes. So that is one of the reasons why we are still hesitating on pelletizing hay, because we wonder if we remove this aspect of chewing, will it affect their happiness, and will it give them any stress? We will find out in due time. Yes. So we can do a research on that. We compare the ones that were chewing compared with the ones that were taking pelletized hay. Next on that, of course, we talked about the fiberglass for urine. You get that from your local hardware shop. It's very popularly available.
And how much do they sell like for this one?
These ones, I think around here we have it between 500 to 600 shillings per meter.
Per meter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this one is the one for collecting
urine.
The urine.
And there's a gutter, no more gutter for rainwater collection. Then, of course, when you're selecting wood, you notice you have used hardwood. This is blue gum. Avoid using pine, avoid using gravaria, those soft trees, because we need you to be washing that hatch with water. So we want you to use a hardwood that is going to withstand that act of not rotting. So that is why we choose blue gum tree.
The blue gum.
Yes.
Okay. And these cardboards,
this is for making the nesting boxes. The boxes for giving birth. So you use this one for making that, and some of it for the backside of the hay rack. Yes. Guys,
quality materials for building rabbit hatches.
Yes.
If you want any of this that we have talked about here, the wire mesh for the ground, the hay racks, I mean the hay
racks,
the hay racks, or any type of wood, you can contact David on the number that is on your screen right now.
Yes.
Well, David, I also see that you have another equipment here.
Yes. This is a crate for transporting rabbits. So you put them inside there, cover it up, and put them at the boot of your car. and then you take them to a destination. Maybe you have someone needing a delivery nearby, so you deliver using that one.
And it is very well ventilated.
Yes.
How much does this go for?
This one you can get it from chicken equipment sellers. I think around, the last I checked was about 4,400, give or take, depending on the shop. Yeah.
Many young people are giving up. Maybe could you have some advice to them?
I would say rabbit farming is also a viable economic activity. I've written an article on my website called Rabbit Farming in Kenya, a solid agribusiness activity. Of course, we may need support, publication support, viability, showcasing and all that. In some countries like Zimbabwe, you will find even the Minister of Agriculture, if there's an event of rabbit farmers, they will broadcast it on national TV. It is that serious. So it is efforts like those ones. It will show the youth, it will make it popular, that it is also a viable agribusiness venture. So my advice to anyone looking to keep rabbits as a business, number one, get trained first. Number two, it is a challenging market, I will not deny. For you to penetrate that market as a beginner, you may have to rely on the people in the market at the beginning as you establish your place in the market. Number three, you can actually go the way to the market without relying on a middleman. Okay? If you go around Kenya, you find we have so many pork joints. It's one of the ways pork became popular. Against even selling to popular buyers, to also trying to increase their profit margins by opening joints of cooking pork. The same can be done for rabbits. We have attempted it also around here by here. It can be done. So my advice is that approach it professionally. It is not a get-rich-quick scheme. We had that history in the market a few years ago. The people who went in as a get-rich-quick scheme are not in the market today, most of them. So I would say approach it with a lot of solid mindset, with a proper business plan, with a proper mindset that knowing this is not peculiar, with the rabbits making you very rich quickly. You have to do the work. And you have to do it over a long time. So don't quit your job first. Make the money in rabbit farming as a side hustle until the point where you can make much more than what you are making your main job, and then you can quit. So when I also started, it was also a side business. Right now, it is what I do full time. You can see the employees around. We have some other people who have traveled with for construction of rabbit hutches somewhere else in Kenya today, also working under me. Diversify around the same niche. Sell meat, sell urine, make hatches, train people. It is what I do. You can see you have all that portfolio. So if you want to sell only rabbit meat alone as a product, then produce thousands and thousands of rabbits alone for rabbit. If you sell few rabbits, then you have no business even looking for middleman. Just market it so that you make more profit margins at the end consumer table. Look for the middleman if you have so many, so that you make small margins, but large volumes of rabbits on sale. What have we not talked about, and it's quite important for rabbit farmers to know? Anybody with a question, they can always reach us to us freely. We are generous with information, and we also have a website, rabbitcrew.co.ke. We publish a lot of what people ask us about. So if you find there's a commonly asked question, the page on our website called Rabbit Talks, that is where you go and write a long articles of, like for example, most farmers will ask me, why is my rabbit dying? I don't know what happened. So I will refer them to that article, because they have more than 16 reasons why rabbits can die suddenly. So we have an article called Top Reasons Why Rabbits Die Suddenly. So all those articles have been published by myself. You can find all that information there. We have articles on rabbit feeding, rabbit production tips, rabbit marketing. You can find them on our website. So we are going to link the website in the description. Also remember that there is a rabbit farming book. And also they have TikTok page. Rabbit Crew Kenya. Even Facebook, and Facebook. So we are going to leave all these links. Make sure that you go and check out for any information that you need to know about rabbit farming. And if you want to buy any of the equipment, any breed of the rabbits that we talked about, make sure that you contact David through the number on the screen. Is the number also for the WhatsApp? Yes. Thank you so much. And all the best also. Also become a rabbit farmer. True. Yes. I'm going to engage in it. Because also this is a learning experience.